Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. It's a transmission set for T-55 and T-55A in 1/35 scale. So you can see that this time we get a slightly different version in comparison with the previous release. It's a kit number 37073, and we have a commercial sample here, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review, and it will be interesting to actually check the contents of this box because it's quite an unusual kit. Some of you already noted in the previous review that this transmission is not included even in the interior version of the set, which is rather surprising, and frankly speaking I didn't even think about it. So now we have a chance to add this stuff to your model in 1/35 scale, and we are going to open this box and take a closer look. So first of all, packaging is standard for this brand. Here you can see comparison with my hand. We have quite descriptive box art, I would say. We also have a short list of the compatible tanks. So it's a T-55A early, also T-55 modification 1963. There is one more T-55A modification, just give me a second, 1981, and one more T-55A late modification 1965, and all four are interior kits, so it's something to note. Of course, it's a top opening box, so here is what we have inside. As you can see, all frames, they're packed into this sealed plastic bag. We also have assembly manual on the bottom. So I'm going to cut through this bag and we will check together what is actually included here and why this set should be handy for your tank. And in case of interior kits, I know there are some modders who are not big fans of this, and I know some modders who are really crazy about it, and they actually work on adding even more features while they are building such models. So I guess this kit is specifically for such modders because it will help them add something what is not included into the original release. So let's zoom in, maybe open the lenses a bit so that it won't be that dark. So here we have some of the engine bay panels. We also have some parts for the transmission, and note also small amount of the flash here, so definitely you'll have to use sharp knife in order to clean these slats, because otherwise it will be a bit ugly to see in 1/35 scale, and that's why do not miss it. And if I flip it over here, you can see these parts from the opposite side. So we have some guiding elements, and overall molding quality seems to be fine if we do not count this small amount of flash which we saw earlier. There are also a lot of small parts. So for example, on this frame you can see that we have some tiny bits which will definitely require installation with help of tweezers, because otherwise it will be really tricky stuff to do. And again, we have really thin attachment points, so I don't think you will have any issues here. Next, we continue with more thin parts. So here is even smaller plastic sprue, and as you can see, we have really thin elements which will have to be added on the engine. And again, molding quality seems to be fine, so I don't have anything to complain about. Next, we continue with the transmission, I would say, box, because as you can see, that's the main, let's say, part which will be assembled out of two sections, and here you can check them from the opposite side. Again, attachment points are thin enough, but still I would rather separate these points with a plastic saw, and this will give you a better precision, and of course it will help to preserve parts in a better shape. Here we continue with the last gray plastic sprue. This one is actually the biggest one, so as you can see it barely fits into the frame, but still you can see almost all parts. Note that we have some thin parts here, so they will require a really careful separation because they're quite happy to, let's say, go break, and then you will have to fix it somehow. Of course, you can also replace it with a metal wire. It will be up to you, but that's something to consider, and definitely do not hurry with them, because later it will be a really pain in the rear part to fix all this stuff. Next, we continue with some parts with, as you can see, the outer panels. We also have some rivets pre-molded, so it looks really cool, and maybe I will bring these parts even closer so that you can check the external features on these elements. So here you can take a look, and everything looks really good. And in my opinion, this is a example of what you can achieve with a modern molding technology, and Miniart is very successful in using it. And that's really cool because it gives us such great kits in 1/35 scale out of the box. You don't have to resort to any resin accessories or upgrades. You get it straight away from the manufacturer, and it's ready to be installed into the original plastic, so you don't have to modify anything. So that's also quite a good thing to consider. And by the way, if I flip over these parts here, you can see that fan has pre-molded blades, which is also quite nice thing to have. You won't have to install them separately. And also here we have some guiding elements which will help you with alignment. And of course, it's also a good sign of the well thought design, which will be helpful for modeler as well. Next, we continue with assembly manual. So this one comes in form of typical Miniart brochure. That's why I will have to close lenses a bit, because cover is finished in a white color, and that's why it might be a bit blinding. But you can see that we have again a short list of the tanks which are compatible with this kit. Next we continue with the parts map, and here you can see a small instruction on how to assemble the engine compartment. So it should be assembled in a special sequence, because otherwise you won't be able to fit all the parts inside. So please follow this stuff. I know some modelers like to do it on their own, but here you will have to do exactly what manufacturer says, because otherwise it will be really difficult to install it into the right spot. Maybe I'll close the lenses a bit more. Now it should be a bit easier to distinguish. So here we continue with assembly of this main, let's say, section. As you can see, this part with fan blades, it will be also accompanied with help of this ring part, and also we install the central section, and then it gets enclosed between these two large parts. So here you should also check some instructions in the original kit, because basically you combine this stuff together with original parts, so pay attention to that. Next, we continue with more parts being glued on this main section, and here we assemble radiators. So also here you can see again some small notes for the general instructions from the main kit, let's say. So you have to combine them together with what you see here. Again, the same stuff goes here, because we are working on the engine bay area. And then you install transmission into the place. You install various pipings and actuators for these sleds. And here we have two versions for open or closed radiator, which is also quite cool, because you will be able to lift this panel on your tank, something what you can't do on the original release. Here we continue with assembly of this cooling radiator grill. And as you can see, it can be also installed in open or closed position, which will depend on the radiator position, of course. And here on the last page, you can see the painting guide. Of course, paints chart or color chart is provided in several manufacturer designations, so I don't think it will be difficult to find a necessary paint color. And as for the whole kit, I can say that it's a really cool addition for these modelers who are brave enough to assemble the interior kit of T-55. Now they can add even more features by getting this kit. It should be already available, and you can get it in Modelimex webshop. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such novelty here in the comment section below. If you like this video, do not forget to press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!